Okay. Hello, our listeners. I don't know what we should call y'all. We'll come up with a name for y'all soon at some point. But welcome to episode 2 of the KnightCASTle. I am your host, Demetrius Montero, my co host,
Matthew Feldman, welcome back.
and we are the UCF sports writers for the UCF Roundtable on roundtable.io. We will have a QR code for that toward the end of the episode so you guys can scan that and read our articles on the website. Today, we're going to talk about UCF's matchup against Baylor tomorrow. They're traveling to Waco, Texas, coming off a second bye week. We'll talk about the 25th anniversary of UCF upsetting Alabama. That was on Tuesday, and some other little fun facts on the side toward the end of the podcast episode. So, first, we're going to talk about the UCF Baylor matchup because it is their second. Well, the Knights are aiming to win their second consecutive Big 12 game. They've struggled in the Big 12 this year, and coming off a dominant victory against West Virginia, they want to carry that momentum and look to finish the season strong. So, Matthew, what do you think UCF should do to earn its second straight Big 12 victory?
Yeah, tomorrow is an intriguing matchup. I think it's really a matchup of strengths. UCF's defense has been so locked down all season. Baylor has really struggled on the defensive side of the ball, but their offense is extremely potent. So I think it's going to be their strong offense against our strong defense. Can we hold them? Uh, can we keep them contained? They have Sawyer Robertson at quarterback. He is number one in college football in the entire country in passing yards and second in passing touchdowns with 23 and 2,500 yards. So he can sling it. Their two main weapons are Mike Trigg, the big tight end, and Josh Cameron, who's another big wide receiver, big vertical threat. We've done pretty well containing teams and keeping them in front of us, not letting them get behind us for big plays. So I think that our corners and safeties match up actually pretty well with their skill positions. Mike Trigg, he's he's the real deal. I played against him in high school in basketball. He was a two-sport athlete at the time, committed to USC. So I know that he's he can move, and he's 6'4", 250. I think he has 5 or 6 touchdowns for them this year already. So he's probably their red zone threat, coming across the middle stuff. And then Josh Cameron, he's going to be looking to go deep. He's 6'1", 225, big lanky receiver. So if we can keep him and Trigg contained, I think we could be able to shut them down. We have held our opponents under 200 passing yards 6 of 7 games this year, which that's actually a really impressive note that I found. We're averaging 146.3 passing yards given up per game. So if we can contain their Heisman level quarterback, I think that we're in a good shape to pull this off.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, UCF is averaging 146.3 passing yards per game, which is good for first in the Big 12. I think if I go look on the NCAA stats, they should be probably around top 5, top 10 um, in that aspect. So it is definitely a challenge for Alex Grinch and his defense to hold Baylor under their averages passing wise. I believe Sawyer averages around 300 passing yards per game. He's only thrown under 300 yards twice. So it is definitely imperative to have him under 200 yards because that tells me you're locking up Josh Cameron. You're not allowing him to beat the you're not allowing him to beat you down deep. You're not allowing him to get into the uh, soft coverages, soft spots in the coverages, and you're holding Michael Trigg to under like 100 yards as well because those are the two big threats as you mentioned. They have over 500 yards in this season in general, right? Cameron, I believe, is fourth or fifth in receiving yards at over 570, and Trigg is eighth. So those two pose a dangerous. I don't know what I want to say. Uh, this is like they're a dangerous threat to UCS defense, and alongside those two, Baylor has their running back in Bryson Washington, who is fourth in the Big 12 in rushing yards at 603 yards per game. I mean, not per game, 603 yards of the season. And being able to have a really good running back alongside a receiver and a tight end who can make big plays is what diversifies the offensive plan of attack and makes it much difficult to cover the team. So it's definitely the biggest challenge Alex Grinch will face this season, I believe. And something UCF will need to do to uh, lower, like get them under their averages, is get to Sawyer Robertson. He's been sacked, I believe, 14 times this season. So you got to be able to put pressure on him and force him to make, a check down or force him to overthrow a receiver. You need to put pressure in his face. So when he's going to make his decision, it's quick. It's not, oh, I'm going through progression 1, progression 2, progression 3 because my pocket is holding up. You have to collapse that pocket and pressure him so he makes bad decisions. That's what you need to do to make sure a passing leader in the Big 12 is held under his averages. So I think that's a key, in my opinion, for UCF to beat Baylor. Obviously, with the offense, you score as well. You got to be able to string together long drives and score in the red zone. But defensively, we've held teams under their averages before, and it's definitely up to the defensive line, although they're lacking Sincere Edwards and Horace Lockett Jr., to generate pressure and ensure Sawyer Robertson is making quick, ill-timed decisions to bring up, third and short. I mean, not third and short, 3 and outs or long fourth downs. So it's definitely it's definitely a challenge for the defense, but they've risen to the occasion before.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
held Cincinnati to 20 points when they were averaging 39.2. So I think it'll be an interesting game. Can UCF hold Baylor under? I think Baylor's averaging 36 points,
Mhm.
36, 37 points. So can you do the same thing that you did with Cincinnati and hold them to 20? Obviously the offense will have to um, explode alongside the defense, but it's definitely up to the defense to ensure that you try and shut down Baylor's weapons as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think our offense matches up really well against their defense. They give up 32.6 points per game, which is in the bottom 20 in the entire country. They've allowed 375 plus yards to 7 of the teams they've faced, and UCF averages a little bit over 445 yards per game. So I think if we do what we need to do on the offensive end and we can contain Sawyer, I think we're in a good position to win this game. I also did the math. We've been really good at pushing the ball downfield, having big plays. Baylor is very susceptible to the big play. They've given up 10 touchdowns this year on gains of over 25 yards, including a 95-yard kickoff return, which our special teams has been volatile. Nixon back there, he's been running well. So I think that my bold prediction is a kick return touchdown, but I think we'll be able to gash him deep. And this is actually a historical matchup for UCF for a couple reasons. 2014, we got our first New Year's Six win against Baylor in the Fiesta Bowl. But 2 seasons ago, and I was in attendance for this game, we were up 35-7 against them going into the third, and they scored 29 unanswered to walk us off in the fourth. So I know that's probably still on the forefront for a lot of UCF fans. A lot of remember that game. I know they asked Coach Frost about it. He obviously wasn't there, but he gave a pretty funny response about like, well, I wasn't really paying attention back then. So I think he'll have the team ready to go. It is a kind of a tough environment. Uh, I feel like they do have a pretty decent crowd most of the time, especially if they're putting up points like this. They're going to get people out to the game. But I think this is a good opportunity for us to get back on track. And honestly, I'm viewing it as a must-win for bowl contention. After this, we have 4 games left, and 3 of them are Houston, Texas Tech, and BYU, all ranked, all top 3 of the Big 12. So if we want to get into that bowl conversation, this is one that we have to have.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. You're coming up against elite competition. So you got to treat this game as a do or die if you want to make a bowl game. And it's never a bad thing to make a bowl game. Like it's a bowl game. Everyone's
Yeah,
gonna get a chance to
and
play.
cross first year.
Yeah, everyone's gonna get another chance to play collegiate football. You're gonna be able to have another chance to get your name out there. An extra game is never bad.
Mhm.
So perform and be Baylor. If you want a bowl game, that's what you should do.
Yep.
So treat next game as a do or die, and hopefully UCF gets momentum. If they beat Baylor, you go into those big matchups with momentum. Oh, this is our second Big 12 win this season. We're going up against X ranked team, X ranked team, X ranked team. This momentum is what we need, right?
Right.
So treating tomorrow's game as a do or die and trying to get as much positive momentum as possible is imperative for potentially ending the season on a good note. But
Agree.
from there on, let's talk about UCF's 25th anniversary, defeating Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, Tuesday was the 25th anniversary, and honestly, I didn't know UCF did that. I
I
did.
didn't.
So that's that's very surprising to go into probably one of the more storied collegiate programs in all of college history and pulling out an upset, right? So, what are your thoughts on UCF having such a historic moment against a storied program?
Yeah, well, like you said, that was a little before our time. I honestly did not know that that happened, but I think the year before Alabama won the national championship, so they were riding a high wave, and we were independent at the time. We weren't even part of a conference. We were an independent D1 school, kind of like Notre Dame is, but obviously not that level. Um, and I think that it's just crazy to see where we've come in that 25 years since then, being independent, moving through Conference USA, AAC, now being in a Power Four. I think it's just remarkable to see the growth, and I think it's inspiring and promising for the future. Like, imagine what we can do in the next 25 years if we started as independent, now we're in a Power Four, actual contender conference. I think it's just encouraging to see.
Yeah, and I was doing my research and looking at the stats of that game, and it was a turnover heavy game. Not for us as much, not for UCF as much. UCF, I believe, had two, three turnovers. Quarterback Ryan Schneider threw a pick. I think it was a pick six. Um, Finding those stats is really tough. It's not like the most historic game that Google has recorded, but of course, to UCF fans, it's a darling. But it was a turnover heavy game. Alabama had, I think, their quarterback threw four interceptions. So UCS defense was on fire. And like you need those interceptions. You need all four of them because they won 40-38. That's a
It was a
2 point
walk-off field goal, right?
win.
I think they walked it off with a field goal.
They probably did. I have to go back and look at that. But like you need all four of those interceptions. I don't care. It's Alabama.
Yeah.
You need all four of those interceptions. You need to score on any turnover you can generate. So being able to generate four turnovers and ho- I don't know if the play by play, but the play by play, some of those drives you should have scored on. Should have scored on some of those drives because you need that, especially against an SEC team. An SEC team, one of the best collegiate conferences in football, and to travel to Tuscaloosa and upset them, that's insane.
Yeah, that's big time.
It's it's crazy because Alabama is Alabama. We all know Alabama.
Yep.
Nick Saban. It feels like Alabama gets every recruit. I know NIL has changed the collegiate, just the entire collegiate scene in general. So to go to Alabama and beat them, like that's something where the fan base is like, let's hang a banner saying we beat Alabama in 2000. And honestly, nobody would be mad at that.
Nope.
Nobody would be mad at that.
I
So,
wonder how many independent programs have beaten Alabama. Probably not many.
yeah, not many. I believe it was UCF's first SEC win.
Yep.
And honestly, it came shortly after they became a D1 school. I believe they became a D1 school in 1996. So, in 4 years to have an accomplishment like that, it says a lot about the growth of the program over time and your ability to be close in these big games against big names, not just Alabama, but I believe a few years ago, UCF almost beat Oklahoma when Dylan Gabriel was their quarterback.
Yep.
And a year after that, they almost beat Iowa State, who was ranked. So being able to pull out a upset victory against Alabama, that says a lot about the team, their toughness. They don't care if you're going up against the number one ranked team in the nation or the number three ranked team in the Big 12. A game is a game, and we're going to go out there and compete at the highest level possible. If we win, we win. And if we lose, it sucks, but there's a lesson out of losing, even though it was, so that's really good. I didn't know about that,
Yep.
and I'm quite surprised UCF did beat Alabama. Uh,
And
but
it beckons the question of whether or not we would have seen them again in 2017 if we would have made the playoff, the
yes,
or
yes,
claimed
yes.
the national championship, but they won it that year, and that's the whole reason why we kind of claimed that championship because we beat Auburn and Auburn beat Alabama. Alabama went on to win it. It would have been interesting to see. I like to think that we would have won it, but we would have we would have needed a couple interceptions in that one too. So
Mhm, for
yeah,
sure. So let's get on to a fun fact I came across about an hour and a half before we started recording. And it has to do with arguably or probably objectively a top five quarterback in the league. You want to guess who a quarterback is?
I'm trying to think if it's someone. I mean, you said objectively, so it can't be Mahomes, Lamar, Allen. I'm taking those three out. Is that right? Not those three?
No, it's one of those three. It's it,
Okay.
it is a top five quarterback.
Is it Lamar?
Yeah, it's Lamar.
Okay.
So I found a post on X, Twitter, whoever, whatever you want to call that nowadays. And it was a Throwback Thursday post saying
I saw this. I
10
saw
and a half years ago, Lamar visited UCF. Now, most people should know Lamar is a Florida native. He attended Boynton Beach High School.
Mhm.
I remember the one clip on the news where he's rushing in for the touchdown and he stops and then goes in.
Yeah.
So it's interesting knowing Lamar visited UCF. I know he went to Louisville and became one of the faces of collegiate football during that time with Deshaun Watson. I believe Trevor Lawrence was backing up Watson at that time. And obviously now he's an amazing NFL quarterback, has won multiple MVPs. And at this point in his career, it's just now you have to win a Super Bowl to cement yourself.
Right.
So that begs the question a little bit, like, what if Lamar committed to UCF? Like, what, where would that go? Um, would he be the player he is today? And if he was, um, how much pride would that bring to UCF to have a multi-time MVP, to have probably be argued as the greatest quarterback to come out of UCF? So let's kind of do a little bit of a hypothetical here. What do you think Lamar Jackson would be if he committed to UCF?
Whew. Well, 2015 we were AAC, so limited ceiling in that regard. Obviously, if he was there in 2017, I would expect us to still go undefeated and claim that national championship. I mean, I think his breakout season was was his junior year. I don't think he started until his junior year, and then he had his Heisman season, then he got drafted. I think that's how it
Mhm.
went. I have a good story about that too. I heard a story. His one of his teammates, Jonathan Grenard, he's in the NFL now. He plays D end. Was a freshman when Lamar was a junior, and he told a story about Lamar. The first practice that they ever put on pads, Grenard goes out and he's like part of he redshirted his freshman year, so he wasn't that was kind of like where he was at. And he was part of the threes, like the third and fourth group. Lamar was practicing with the ones and the twos. They didn't really know if he was going to start. Well, one day, Louisville's coach told him that they're going to put the pads on and they're going live. So Grenard lines up, gets ready, and the coach calls out Lamar. He's like, "Wait, he's playing? Like he's on the offense? Why is he playing?" He's like, "Well, we're gonna give him some live reps, see what he can do." And Grenard said he lined up. Lamar took one snap in a zone read, kept it, and he said he bursted down the sideline and cut on a dime. And I don't know who this player was, but he said that a safety on Grenard's three group tore his ACL trying to cut back with Lamar, and that was the first practice play that Grenard ever saw Lamar run in pads. And he said from there, it just blew up, and he was doing that almost every practice, some play that would wow him. So, I mean, that's a pretty cool story, but I would expect greatness if he came to UCF. I would expect him to have almost every record. He probably would have started right away. I don't know. I don't think McKenzie was there in 2015 yet. Um, but as far as the winning part goes, I don't know how much he would have improved our opportunity to make it into the playoff, but it would be great to be able to claim him as a Knight. I mean, he would undoubtedly be the greatest to ever make it out of UCF. So,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I have a couple friends who really are fans of the Baltimore Ravens. They're, as the sports term goes, they're Lamar stans. So, it'd be kind of funny to go up to them and be like, "Yeah, Lamar went to UCF. I go to UCF. Lamar went to UCF, so I'm a Lamar stan too." But man, that's a little fun fact. It's a little cool to kind of think, oh man, what if Lamar committed to UCF? That would be kind of cool. It'd be kind of fun.
yeah,
And then something else I saw. This is another fun fact. Something else I saw on Twitter when I was scrolling, just keeping up with UCF sports news, is UCF space uniforms. You know the space uniforms? You've seen them before?
yeah.
Look really good. They are now in college football 26.
Hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool. That they're in the game, and whoever has college football 26 can get to experience, probably be, no, all bias, probably one of the best college football uniforms in the game. I
Yeah,
think they look pretty good.
that's fair to say.
Uh, yeah. So outside of those little fun facts, anything else that you've come across that you want to touch on in this podcast before?
Well, we talked a little bit about RJ Harvey last week. He was officially named uh, NFL Rookie of the Week. So, hats off to RJ. Great work. I love to see him continue to get more reps. I also saw a post about him. He has the second most touchdowns among rookie running backs. He has 5. And I think every person that is on that list with him has twice the carries. I think he had like 60 touches compared to Scattaboo, who also had 5. Get well soon. He had like 120 touches, which he didn't even start until a couple weeks ago. So the fact that RJ is doing this with the limited amount of work that he's getting, I just hope that it continues to grow and he continue to uh, be a big primetime player on a team that should make it deep into February. Maybe not deep, but at least into the playoffs. Get some good experience for him.
Yeah, it's amazing to see RJ's efficiently putting up stats. He's doing so in less carries, and hopefully the success continues to roll along. Hopefully he wins another Rookie of the Week award. It may not be a 3 touchdown game, but still be able to get a touchdown or two and put together probably a 100-yard game. Um, Definitely want to see more RJ Harvey in NFL news for sure. It's always nice to have a Knight make you know the headlines of the NFL, right? It's always nice to have that. It's Knight pride. So hopefully, success keeps coming his way, and praying one day we have him on the podcast and he can kind of walk us through his journey from UCF to the NFL and the differences between collegiate football and professional football and all of that jazz. So that'll be the end of today's episode. I know it was a little bit shorter than the first one, but um, let me put up the QR code for our viewers. Scan the QR code it'll take you to the Roundtable site for UCF Sports, where you can read Matthew and I's articles. I will write a gamer tomorrow for Baylor, so expect that to be published tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. So no pun intended. So you can read about the game if you miss it, anything of that nature, and just keep up with UCF sports and support us. Also make an account, make community posts, anything you see. If there's some little fun fact you see about UCF, publish that in the community post. Like, comment, anything, just drive more interactions. We would love that. We would love the support, and you know, you give to us and we give back to y'all. So, there's more of that. Again, scan the QR code and, support our website. And make sure you like and subscribe to stay tuned to more KnightCASTle episodes. We will have our next podcast episode on Monday where we break down where we preview UCF Hofstra home opener for men's basketball, literally even a couple hours before the game happens.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. We will also review the Baylor matchup, any pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, etc. See what happens in that game.
I'm
Bring that
manifesting
to
it.
you guys.
We're gonna review a win. We're gonna
Yes,
review a win.
we will review a win and a second straight Big 12 victory.
That's right.
So again, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. I am your host, Demetrius Montero, my co-host.
Matthew Feldman. Thanks for listening, guys.
And we'll see you on Monday. Peace.
See ya.